Luthen!
Oh dear, you found me.
When it comes to casting for Andor, our general hope is to cast really brilliant actors in all the parts, big and small.
Tony Gilroy, who is the showrunner and writer of Andor, thought long and hard about every person's journey, whether or not they'd have one line or a lead in the show. So we want to make sure we're just getting the best acted in all of those parts.
I'm Nina Gold, casting director on Andor.
And I'm Martin Ware, I'm casting director on Andor.
Let's keep making avoidable mistakes.
Let's keep overreacting.
Here's Luthen and Kleya. Obviously, Stellan Skarsgård is completely a genius. We needed to find someone to play Kleya who, whilst being a young woman, could match him in authority and intensity and could go toe-to-toe with him in all situations, such as this one. And she really did that.
And with Stellan, because he kind of plays two parts in a way for quite a lot of the show. The gallery owner requires quite a lot of lightness of touch, and then he's got the darker side, so it was just finding
someone who could do that journey with him. She really had this inner command and...
real authority.
Yeah.
So this is a scene with Mohammed Bayer and Forrest Whitaker. And when we were casting season 1, we cast Mohammed in quite a small part in the Ferrix world. And we thought he was brilliant. He had one or two lines and some nice reaction shots. But we thought that might be it for him. And then when Tony Gilroy told us that he had big plans for him in season 2, and then we finally saw the scripts, we were so delighted that Tony had seen him, loved him, and wanted to write this amazing part for him.
And that Tony had really believed in him from his appearance in season 1, could really spot that he had all this going on for season 2. During the casting of season 1, we didn't meet. We had self-tapes from a lot of really young, new actors. And he really rose to the top of that. And obviously, Forrest Whitaker is the great Forrest Whitaker.
We were so happy he'd come and play for a few days, and he's amazing.
Can you imagine how great it would be for Mohammed Bayer to find himself acting opposite Forrest Whitaker, aged 18? Just be amazing.
Get out. Close it.
This is Siril and Dedra on Gorman, and Siril has finally realised that things haven't been quite what he thought there.
Dedra's the evil mastermind. And these two actors, Denise Gough and Kyle Soller, are just fantastic, brilliant, top of their game actors. We'd seen them in all of this incredible stage work that they've been doing for, a lot of years in the UK. And this was a real amazing showcase for their brilliance on screen. In this scene, both of their characters have really gone through a really big journey to go from where they started as she was very impenetrable, authoritarian boss, and he was somewhat at a loss and didn't really know what was going on.
Moved in with his mum and had a deadbeat job. And then in season 2, Dedra's character, we see her in a domestic setting, we see her at home, we see her dealing with Cyril's mum, and
it will start to unravel in quite a big way.
And loving Siril in her own very strange, peculiar way.
And I guess the scales fall from his eyes eventually, don't they?
So this is the beginning of the Gorman Massacre, which is the climax of the Gorman story that runs throughout most of season 2.
And it's really an immense set piece, isn't it? With a lot of people.
Yeah, there's something like 350 in the crowd and nearly 50 stunt people, and then the actors as well. So there's about 400 people there on set, which is a big day.
Yeah, so part of the challenge of casting the whole story is that there are distinct worlds and planets, and we have to find a way to differentiate them and give them a different vibe.
All the actors learnt a fictional language that quite a lot of their scenes are in. When they're speaking to each other, they're speaking Gorman to each other. And then when they're speaking to outsiders, they're all speaking English with the same accent.
This cafe used to be full of designers.
And when we cast these actors, we worked with a brilliant French casting director called Mathilde Snodgrass, who introduced us to some brilliant French actors and really helped us explore who was out there and who would be up for coming and playing lots of complicated, interesting scenes in a totally fictional language. And they were all up for it.
It sounds really ridiculous when you say it now. At the time, it seemed like a really good idea. It seemed to be a way of giving them their own distinct identity.
For the crowd scenes in this Gorman massacre, it was really important to have real people there rather than CGI crowds.
It just makes the atmosphere more authentic and tangible, and the feeling of a load of people panicking and trying to get the hell out of there was really happening.
And knowing and seeing that it's all there happening for real helps you consider crowds and riots and this kind of event in other world contexts. This is a scene where Cassian's woken up and found that Bix has left early in the morning and starts listening to a voice message she's left for him.
And this is Adria Arjona, who we cast in season 1, which is probably now 5 years ago. And as soon as she did her first, 5 words of her first audition, it suddenly became really obvious that it must be her. She had such incredible mix of the kind of strength and resilience of Bix and the vulnerability and willingness to go through this immense journey that Bix has to go through. She was one of the few people who we were able to get in the room to do a chemistry test with Diego. And again, that just cemented it very clearly that they were really meant to be playing these parts opposite each other.
The scripts alone are so detailed and precise about character and intention that it's quite easy for us to start thinking about brilliant actors to bring them to life. But then Tony Gilroy also would love to talk about the briefs and to talk about other thoughts he had on the characters before we headed out there making lists and auditioning actors.
Yeah, we had an incredibly collaborative process with Tony and with Zanna Vollenberg, the producer, and it was fascinating because Tony's right. The character is, his interest in character is so detailed and wonderful, and he's very flexible in his thinking, isn't he? When he sees something in an actor that's not necessarily the thing that he'd originally thought, he's quite happy to make some changes in his thought process if it seems the right thing to do. And also the writing is so appealing to actors because it is so interesting and good.
I think that's all from us for now. Thanks for listening.
Thank you.